Hello and welcome. We are back. It is episode 26 of Voorhees Tiger Vision. I am so happy to be with you. I guess first and foremost, happy to be with you. It's been a little while. I'm your host, Mondre Allen. We're here with the coach, Coach Cabral Hub. Coach, how you doing, man?
I'm good, man. Glad to be back on. It has been a while.
Yeah, it's been a
It's
little minute.
strange, man.
Yeah, we had to fight our way through some adversity all year, but we're
True.
back. We're here. Um, Man, how are you feeling this tournament time? I know you got a lot of friends, a lot of family members in you know in the tournament, guys. State tournament for high schools. We had some people that we know that won state championships, and now we got some of our friends in college fighting it out in the field of 64.
Man, number one, you know, I'd be remiss to say if I didn't wish we were playing right now, but congrats to those 16 NAIA teams who are headed to Kansas City. Start play tomorrow. It's going to be a battle down there. You got some of the best who are playing. And we wish that we were a part of that, but that's why we're grinding right now so we can get to that point next year and years to come. Obviously, the NCAA tournament is, the first four games, or had two last night, got a couple more tonight, and get to the tournament tomorrow. And it's exciting to see some guys that, we matched up against Georgia State, and they're playing in the NCAA tournament, and guys, coaches that I know who are getting ready to go to battle in the NCAA tournament, guys who are already getting ready to go to the Elite Eight in the NCAA, Division II tournament, and obviously a lot of the high schools have already finished up. So congrats to those guys who were able to succeed and win state championships. And I know we'll get to it later, but congratulations to Coach Kelly and Coach Darren Douglas at Grovetown and Cross Creek. And I'm mentioning those two because they were at our team camp last year, so they get some
Absolutely,
special love.
absolutely. Talk about a couple more guys that I know you're familiar with. I watched University of Indiana and our good friend Yasir Roseman over there as an assistant in Indiana. They got a big win in the first four.
It's funny because I think I saw some stat that said Coach Woodson, which obviously Yashir's on that staff, takes
Mhm.
Indiana to their first win in the NCAA tournament maybe in 6, 7 years. He took the Hawks to the first playoffs in like 10 years. Cleveland to their first playoffs in like 12. It was something crazy, like some stat I saw that was really crazy. But definitely congrats to Yashir at Indiana.
Yep. You mentioned Georgia State. Those guys who you know over there. Also, our good buddy Tim Kaine over at Murray. Those guys are
Seven seed, baby. Seven
in
seed.
it as well.
Let's
Yes,
go.
sir. Absolutely, absolutely. You yourself have been, a part of this thing a lot when it comes to
Hey,
preparing.
hold on. Adam Flagg was a one seed.
Yes, he is. Yes, he
Make
is.
sure we understand that now.
Absolutely.
Defending,
Uh,
defending national champions, one seed, back to back, baby. Let's go.
and I did pick them to win the whole thing. Sorry, Georgia State, um, but I picked Baylor to win the entire thing again.
So
Uh,
as I told my assistant James, you guys are way too early. I haven't done mine tonight. I will break it down. You gotta reflect and think about this thing, man. You can't just go in a hurry and
Well, I wanted to make sure that I supported Yasir, and I did pick Indiana to win in that first game. So I wanted to go ahead and fill it out and make sure that I had those guys on that line.
I got
Um, I am a homer, so I did support all my friends for this bracket. Georgia State, let's go.
so you think upset, baby. Let's go. I hear you.
Let's go. I'm riding Murray State. I'm riding. I think I've got Murray in the either in the Elite Eight or Final Four. I picked them to go pretty far, so I'm riding with my buds on that one. So, but wanted to talk to you about you're no stranger to postseason success. Just last year, we were celebrating a conference tournament championship here at Voorhees. So, what is it I know you guys talk frequently, but what is it about preparing for the tournament? Are there things that happen that are different than preparing for a regular season contest or a conference contest that happen in tournament play?
Well, first off, the thing that prepares you to even get to that conference tournament and hopefully the national tournament at whatever level that you're talking about is your preparation during the year. Everything that you're doing during the year should be preparing you for those moments in your conference or even region tournament if you're a high school coach, and then in a national tournament or state tournament if you're a high school coach. And so as you get to that point, you've got to understand that things change. You know, in a conference tournament or even a region tournament in high school, you're playing back to back, right? So you've got to prepare yourself somewhere throughout that season where you're possibly playing back to back games. So your guys or girls, if you're a women's coach, can be ready for that kind of adjustment to make on the fly. Um, I know when I was in high school, like we kind of would, because Georgia used predetermined brackets, we kind of knew who you would play, what regions in the tournament. So we would start preparing early, start scouting early who we may play in the state tournament. The closer we got to the conference tournament, you know, not saying we thought we were going to win, but it was just, you know, getting ready, preparing ourselves because we were confident in our abilities as coaches and our team to get us to that point. In college, you know, that turnaround's quick. So there's probably somebody on staff who's looking at both those teams who are playing who you may have to play next. You know, I remember us at the conference tournament last year, and we knew who we were playing first. We knew we had Lincoln Christian. So, you know, James and I were locked in tune to breaking that team down. Um, but as soon as we finished that game, we were in the hotel late at night, early morning, breaking down who we had to play next, which was College of the Ozarks. And I'm pretty sure that's what many coaches, heads, and assistants are doing in the conference tournament. And it gets revved up when you get to the national tournament. You know, we had already looked at who we want to play next because once that bracket comes out, you know the possibilities of you're going to play next. So you start that initial development of the scout who you're going to get. At our level, it may be a little bit more difficult. We don't have as many people on staff, but when you talk about it at the NCAA Division One level, with the coaches they have on staff, there are two guys that are one guy's breaking down one team, the other's breaking down the other team, and that other guy had to scout for the night they're playing. So, and that takes care of the first weekend. If you're blessed to get to the next weekend, it rolls over again. So, um, that's the kind of things that you're doing this time of year. You may actually be calling some buddies, to be honest with you, who played those guys. You know, not to get their scout, but to what are your thoughts on them? What works? What doesn't work? What do we need to be aware of?
Got you. Got you. I can imagine that the intensity and the focus on those scouts cranks up another level. Also, anything that gets missed on that scout, I can imagine gets a bigger sense of urgency as well. Um,
It does rev up, but I don't think any a coach that says it doesn't will lie to you. I think if you miss something on any scout, somebody's upset. Like, why wasn't that guy on the scout? He just dropped three threes in a row.
right. Um, when it comes to breaking down those teams, is there any kind of tried and true method for how you do that quickly when it comes to tournament play? Like you mentioned, you may have to do that the night after a game to be prepared for practice the next day. Or is there a certain philosophy that you found that works without giving away any trade secrets, but any big
I,
steps that you found?
I think to each their own. Like everybody has a certain way of doing things. Every coach, every assistant coach who's doing the scout. I know if we had gotten there this year, it would have been where I would have had one guy looking at one thing, I'm looking at another guy looking at another. So then we could come together quickly and put it all together of what we needed to do before a shoot around or just watching film the next day, whatever we needed to do. So that would be the biggest thing that I would do, and hopefully we get to that point here where we have enough coaches that can be a head coach of that area. If James is over defense, like he's looking at what they do offensively to bring back to the table. If my main thing is offense, I'm looking at what they do defensively. If we have somebody that's kind of over, slobs and blobs, sideline out of bounds and baseline out of bounds. They're kind of looking at that, and then we have somebody looking at personnel, like what goes on with their personnel. So it's a lot of things that go into it that a lot of people don't realize. It's not just looking at a film and saying, "Oh, that guy can play." We got to make sure we don't let him crash the board. So it's a little bit deeper than that.
Great insights there. Um, I don't. I know it's an amazing experience, but I don't envy you guys having to do that with a quick turnaround. Um, Want to get into our season this season. Um, we've talked before about the type of adversity that had to be faced, but then also some points of growth that we saw throughout the year, and some guys that stepped up and played well. So, um, we'd love to get your thoughts now that the season has passed and had some time to reflect, and give us kind of a recap as you saw it.
First I'll say we got better as the season went along. I thought individually, as a team, although you may not see it in our record, I thought we got better. We lost 12 games by 6 points or less. That says a lot right there, to how close we could have been to still playing right now. Um, Talk about growth, and I've told my guys, I told them in our exit interviews individually, I told my staff that there were some things that I had to be better on or better at. Number one was, I scheduled hard, Andre. We played 3 Division 1s, we played 3 Division 2s, we played some of the best, whether it was in our conference or outside of our conference, as far as NAI. And our schedule was tough. We talk about travel. And I think I've got to do a better job of scheduling, to allow my guys, rest, especially when we're traveling so much, or, just doing a better job scheduling. Um, I also think, a lot of times when you have year one and you're successful in year one, you think everything is good. You think culture has been set.
Mm,
And although it has been, you got to understand that going into year two, you're still dealing with guys who've only been with you for 1 year. And so here you are trying to depend on your leaders to handle culture, when in turn, you as a coach still have to have your thumb absolutely pressed down as hard as you can on making sure the culture's in place. And I'm not saying like we had a bad culture. What I'm saying is that you can't let up.
mm,
You
yep.
can't let up, because you're still building that culture in year two. And I think that's something that I've learned, having come off winning in your first season and going into year two, and you're bringing in these new guys. We lost 7 guys from that team that went to the championship. So you're bringing in 7 guys, and now here you are trying to flip that thing really quick. Uh, and we had some growing pains, to be honest with you. But I live and learn, and I told my guys, I got to grow just like you got to grow. I can't tell you to get better if I'm not getting better. So I think both of those things, are things that I can grow at, and our guys got to get better. We unfortunately, COVID, although we thought it was kind of dying down in November, December, January, it came back. And on December 29th, it was unfortunate. We got a call as head coaches here at Voorhees that all athletes had to be vaccinated. And if they weren't by a certain time, they couldn't play. And so we lost 2 starters and a top rotation 8 guy. And so if you thought we were a little bit young before, we got really young after that. And so it made some guys grow up fast. I look at Keyshawn Fleeton, I look at Fred Spells, Amari Joseph, Christian Ford. I think about those 4 guys who had to grow up fast. It got to a point where the second half of the year, and although he just wanted to be on the floor, he did everything he can and did a great job doing it. Christian Ford was playing the 4 for us. And that's not where we want him to be playing, but it's what needed to be done to get to the year. He did a great job doing it. I thought Amari Joseph grew so much. If anybody could have saw him from beginning to, or preseason to where he was at the end of the year, man, it would you would be surprised. And we're elated about the development of Fred Spells and Troy McCann and Keyshawn Fleeton. So we're excited about that. And we had some guys step up. You look at the improvement of Tawa and Bowie. When I first got here, he was a guy that averaged 5.1 points a game. To his first year with us last year, he averages 10.4 and 3.1 rebounds, makes all conference. To this year, he goes to 18.3 and 5.9 rebounds. As a 6-foot guard, he led us in rebounding. That shows his toughness. That shows what he's about. And he makes all conference again. So you're talking about a kid two seasons ago averaged 5.1 when I wasn't here, to a kid now who averages 18.3. Or you look at our guard, our point guard, Jordan Blue, who last year averaged, I think I wrote it down, 5.4, 3.1 rebounds, 2.3 assists, to this year averaging 7 points a game, 5 rebounds, second on the team, tied for second on the team, and 4 assists a game, and had a 2-to-1 assist to turnover ratio. So that development part, we're happy about. We just got to turn those losing 12 games by 6 points or less to victories. We can talk about the tip in versus D2 Emory and Henry and make excuses. Well, I was out with COVID. Coach Jay was out with COVID, and our student assistant, Coach AP, had to coach him. It's not an excuse. We got to win those ball games. You know what I'm saying? And I think this year it helped us to get down to the nitty gritty, break us down. A lot of times I'm a big believer in God. So if anybody's on this podcast who don't understand that, I think sometimes God has to break you down and build you up. And I think this was our season to be broken down so he can take us to where he needs to take us. And I told my team that. I told them that as the season went along. And if you watched us at the end of the year, you would have never knew that we had lost 12 games by 6 points or less. You would have thought we were the best team in the conference.
Absolutely. And I think you and I had talked about it as well, that I was like, wow, man, this is making you a better coach.
Yeah.
Making you a better coach. Sometimes that process is painful, but worth it. We got some questions from the audience that I think is helpful. And this is something I didn't plan, but definitely a question I think that needs to be asked from William is that, has the transfer portal changed the way of recruiting high school kids?
I think right now, William, I would just kind of address it as a whole. There are lots of college coaches who want to get old and stay old because they would rather get a guy they already know who's experienced a life of traveling, practicing weights, individuals, getting beat up, who's already played college games, than taking a chance with a high school guy, whether that's right or wrong. Here at Voorhees, we still believe in taking high school guys and getting them better. But I know there are a lot of colleges that want to look in that transfer portal. And it's tough for high school guys. And I know there's been this big thing on Twitter about take the offers that you have right now, don't wait it out. And however you feel about that, you have to understand this point, that it's not 3 to 5 years ago where a high school guy could go to the live period in AAU in April and possibly pick up 2, 3, 4, 5 offers. Mm-hmm. It may be a time right now he may not pick up one. And so you've got to be okay with whatever is out there and figuring out with whatever offers you have out there right now, picking the right spot for you. Picking the guys who love you for who you are as a basketball player and a person and want you as part of their program. Because every day that transfer portal gets more, as teams start losing, more people pop in. And as soon as these coaching changes happen, more and more people pop in. And it's unfortunate for the high school kid that they're getting overlooked. They won't get overlooked by Voorhees, but they're getting overlooked. And it just may be a time where you may have to understand you could be at a higher level, but go dominate the level that you're going to be at. And if you do that, then anything else is possible. So it has changed the landscape of high school, of recruiting high school kids. But we've got one that committed to us early. And I know we'll talk about him later, but we got one that committed to us early.
I love that. I love that. I was having a conversation with a parent today, and I just explained it to him this way. I said, nobody wants to be, and excuse my language because the English is not going to be great here, but this is, I said it to be effective. I said nobody wants to be somebody's last choice, and I think that can be said um, for college coaches, right? A kid that you're recruiting, you don't want to get the kid to commit just because he ain't having anywhere else to go.
Correct.
Um, but also that high school kids have to understand too is that um, I don't think they would want to be somebody's last choice, right? I think they want to believe that they're valued. I don't know that they always make decisions that way, but I believe they want to be. So I think there has to be some understanding of that there are human beings on both sides of this equation. And um, I want to ask you this question: how do you feel the communication is coming from kids and parents that you have offered a scholarship?
I think it has to get better on both sides, not just us, our parents and the kids, but us as college coaches. I think now because of the transfer portal and everything that's going on, you've got to be more upfront with people and tell them exactly what you need, what the situation is. Like we tell any guy, whether it's if it was a transfer, whether it was a JUCO guy, whether it's a high school guy, that we're not guaranteeing you anything. I'm not guaranteeing you gonna start. I'm not guaranteeing you gonna play this many minutes. I'm guaranteeing you an opportunity. If we didn't think you could do some of those things, then we wouldn't be talking to you right now. But
Mm-hmm.
you've got to come in and do what we need you to do to get to that point of what you want, starting or however many minutes you want to play. But we've got to do a better job of communication. And some of that comes back to what I'm about to say right now. And we had a staff meeting on Monday coming off the road from recruiting. And we talked about it just like this. We said, after we offer a guy, and especially if we get a guy on a visit, then we've got to be more upfront to tell those kids that there's a time frame on this. Like, especially after you visited. Once you've done that, then there's going to be a time frame for you to say yes, no, or maybe. Right? We want you to say yes.
Mm-hmm.
If you say no, we're also okay with that because we want guys who want to be here, who want to be in little old Denmark, South Carolina at Voorhees College, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if it's a maybe, please understand that it's like dating. If you're still dating and looking out there, then so are we.
Mm.
And if somebody says yes before you, it's unfortunate for you, but because we were dating, it put us in that position.
Very true.
And then the second thing I'll say, it kind of combines all those things, is that when we talk about high school kids, you've also got to remember this is impacting junior college kids as well. Like there was a time junior colleges, Hutch is going on right now, which is Hutch and Danville, which is the Division One, Division Two junior college tournaments. And there was a time guys that went to one of those two, like they're gonna pick up all these offers, so they're waiting. And then you got the junior college showcases, which happened at the end of April. So they're waiting till like May, end of May, to decide where they're going. Well, because of the portal and everything, like a lot of people are we're talking as coaches are saying, unless you're that high level, high major, definite high major junior college guy, you're probably gonna have to make a decision before then. And parents and players, no matter whether you're high school, junior college, transfer, whatever you are, you cannot get upset if a program or a coach sets a deadline for you. Because if not, you're setting, if they don't do that and they continue to let you drag it out, whether it's finding the best fit or you just don't know, it sets the program back, especially if they don't get you. And understand, I'm trying to keep it as real as I can. If a school has offered you, they may have only offered you, but it's some only offer you at that position. But they do have people under you, whether they've offered them or not. And it gets to a point that the people under you can jump you if there's more interest from the person under you, whether you are the better player or not. they become a better fit for the program because they want to be there.
Mm.
And then if that person decides yes first,
That's it. That's it. I know a couple of people who that personally happened to. They just kind of waited a little bit too late. Um, I'm going to ask this question. Now, we're talking about recruiting. Again, I know Bennett, you coached at all levels, um, friends at all levels, right? In today's climate, I see a lot of kids right now who may have some other offers going on, maybe not places that they're in love with, but they think would be okay. JUCO, NAI, or other offers, and they want to. Of course, their goal or dream would be to play at the Division I level. How likely is it, do you see, for kids now? And we know we're saying this, understanding that every child situation is different. Of course, if you're a 7 footer and you know what I mean, their rules are different, but most kids are not in that position. But how hard is it now for a kid to go from no real buzz or Division I interest to playing in live period and receiving a Division I offer as an unsigned senior?
it's definitely a lot tougher than it was 3 to 5 years ago.
I
And
would agree.
I'm going to use the great Doug Lipscomb. Shout out to Coach Lip. Um, One time he did a clinic and he said, as coaches, we are dream killers sometimes.
Mm,
And unfortunately, as a dream killer, what that means is we have to be honest. And
mm,
being honest in the landscape we're in, it's going to be very tough. I'm not saying it won't happen. There
right.
will be kids because you've got
Hmm.
coaching changes that are happening at Division I level. They're going to need to fill their roster.
Yes.
You could have a team. There were more than one Division I teams actually that lost basically their whole team
Yes.
in the transfer portal, and a coaching change did not happen, and they
Yes.
had to fill their roster. So it's not impossible, but
Hmm.
it's tough. It's
Yeah.
very tough, right? And so you've got to look and decide what's most important for you. It's like I tell guys who ask me about coaching jobs, what are your pros and cons? And then what are your non-negotiables?
Mm,
So if you can figure out what your pros and cons are and what your non-negotiables are, I think you can figure out where you need to go. Unless you're just so dead set on going Division I. And if that's the case, then you're probably going to either go have to pay for prep school, and hopefully you choose the right one because
hmm.
all of them are not the same.
At all.
If we're going to be transparent and real,
Yes.
or you're going to hopefully have to hope that a junior college recruits you and you play well if you're a qualifier 1 year, if you're not for 2 years, and then make the jump to Division I.
Yep.
But understand, which a lot of times we only talk about 4 years, NAIA, Division III, Division II, Division I, where you shouldn't be waiting. Keep that junior college waiting now, and they're going to move on as well, right? So it's just tough, man. It's really tough. And talking to a Division I coach, assistant coach, and we talked about it when we were watching state championship games, um, and they just don't know what to do with high school guys because here's the dilemma that they face at their level, especially. And we can
Hmm.
face it down here. But I've always said that I'm okay if a guy really comes and blows up.
Hmm.
Okay, I'm fine. It's gonna help my program because they'll understand what we can do for you here. But at
Hmm.
Division I level, like if you go in as a freshman and you don't play, what usually happens?
They transfer.
If you go in as a freshman and you play above the level that maybe even the kid or the coaches thought, what happens?
They transfer.
So is that a win? Is that a
Right.
win for the Division I coach?
Right.
It's really not. So that's why it's so tough for the high school guys. And then why they got to find the right high school guy who's going to be loyal to their program, hopefully.
I think that is the biggest thing that I've heard from coaches now is that it's not that they don't necessarily think high school players can play. It's a trust thing that they don't trust them. um, that under any circumstances, if you don't get your way, then you're leaving, and um, I understand that. Proud point for 1 second. I'll just toss this in. Georgia Man Up sent 6 players to college last year, 0 transfers, 0. That number still stands. Checked in on all my kids today. Everybody's doing great. Um, got another great question. Dave and I were talking about this. This is an amazing question here, um, because a lot of people don't understand that this happens. He says, Huff question: do you think the transfer portal should in some way determine if the kid is in the portal by having PD next to the name for player's decision or CD for coach/staff decision?
I
That's
don't
a
think
deep one.
that's Dave. I don't think it'll ever get to that point for various reasons. But I think that's why if there's somebody recruiting that kid from the portal, that's what they have to figure out. If it was myself, I'm talking to the player and I'm talking to the previous staff. Because you'll figure out why real soon.
Mm.
Was that player pushed out? And when we a lot of times we get mad if a player is pushed out, but let's keep it 100. Yeah, if you're just pushing him out because he wasn't good enough, I don't know. I don't. Can you keep that player around? But I also know that coaches are getting fired every day for not winning enough, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if they're getting pushed out because they're not doing what they're supposed to do, nobody ever talks about that. They've been in trouble. They've been suspended. They're not doing what they're supposed to do grade wise. I do think the higher number is for the player's decision. I think it's probably 75 to 80%. No, but 25 to 20% probably is coach's decision. And especially if it's the coach going into their second year. You may get a lot more coaches' decisions. They gave that player opportunity to see could he play under their system and then
Mm-hmm.
put him out immediately. But then it's trying to help the kid, excuse me, by saying, listen, you're not going to be productive here. Like, I don't fit you, you don't fit me, we don't mesh. It's
Right.
going to be best that you go into the portal. But here's the biggest problem again that nobody's talking about. A lot of people talk about the Division I portal. There's a Division II portal too now. So when we talk going back to high school kids not having opportunities, it ain't just a Division I portal you got to worry about. Parents, coaches, players. It's Division II portal. There's an NAIA portal. Like,
Wow.
and lastly, like, we have to understand that, and I've said it to my guys that, and it doesn't mean we haven't pushed anybody out. I will, Coach Jay and anybody on my staff can attest to that. We don't do that, but it is a business. It is, and just last week a coach got fired and he won 21 games.
Wow.
So I don't. I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying it's wrong, but it is a business. And the business is just like for a coach and winning and producing the right kind of kids. For a player, it's about production on and off the court. Because a lot of times we just think it's on the court, but if you're not producing in the classroom, you're not productive either.
Yeah, that is really tough. And I didn't mean for this to turn into a recruit show, but it's a hot topic right now, and it looks like there are a lot of questions. So I think these are really solid answers to help people kind of navigate that landscape. Um, Got to get it done in the classroom, fellas. People don't realize that. Um, you know, sore after practice, after games, still homework to be done.
Like for us, every freshman, any player that has less than a 3.0 has a minimum of 6 hours study hall. It's not negotiable. It's not. It's what you got to get done. The best part of it for us is that you get to choose when you want to go because the way it's set up here at Voorhees. Um, but those are the the things a lot of people don't understand of what goes into being a college athlete at any level. The weight room, the study halls, the film sessions, the individual. And we haven't talked about practice and games and travel yet.
That is a heavy number. Transfer portal is already over 1,000. Portal's
And
on
teams are
pace to
still
go over
playing.
3,000 this year.
And teams are still playing. And
Good.
coaching staffs haven't been set at some places that have openings.
That's a tough number. That's a tough number.
But we still, again, high school guys, Voorhees loves you.
One thing that I do want to talk about, and you pressed upon it earlier, is culture. And you talked about how important that was for you. I tweeted something out earlier, maybe a few weeks ago, and I said, "Coaches, protect your culture at all costs." And I saw some of that even on the AAU side, right? There's a culture even with AAU because we have returning players year after year. At least some of us do, um, and it is really important. And it impacts how your team plays game in and game out. Because at least me personally, I feel like a certain culture can carry you to a degree. But how do coaches handle culture when we see coaches now bring in, six transfers, seven transfers, five transfers, a grad transfer that maybe they only have for 1 year? In those situations, how are you hearing coaches deal with culture in those instances?
First thing is you got to be on top of your culture, like you said, every day. Every day. It does not stop. Um, Coach Jay will tell you we have a group chat that we have. Even guys that graduate stay in our group chat. Um, Sometimes during the season, it's a lot about what we're doing, basketball, reminders about what time to be there. But Jay will tell you, whether it's himself or myself, probably every morning they're getting something that may or may not have anything to do with basketball.
Mm.
But it's really about framing their mind around how we need them to be as young men. Because to me, that's part of your culture, right?
Mm. Mm.
Um, and I know it's been said many times, culture is not what you put on a wall or some fan like Tiger Vision. We say that a lot. That's not our culture.
Right.
That's not our culture. Our
Right.
culture is one of family. Like you come to Voorhees, we're gonna be family. We're gonna love you.
Mm.
Sometimes love you hard. Like you gotta have tough love sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
We also gonna have grace. Like everybody's not gonna. I just told you mistakes I made as a coach. Like so, you gotta have grace because everybody's gonna make mistakes. That's part of our culture, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But every coach has their own niche of how they do culture, right? And I've asked my assistants, we're doing something different this offseason to get us better. We're gonna do a study. I told them to pick whoever. Could be a high school team, college team, NBA team. They got to do a study of that team, whatever it could be on their offense, defense, culture, whatever, to break them down of why it can help us in our program. Whether we implement it now or it's something that'll help us if we play some team down the road, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
So you're bringing up a great point. Like you look at guys who bring a lot of transfers in. I'd love to sit down with them. To me, that would be hard. My personality, how I like to build with family. But I know some guys that get it done every year. And when I mean get it done, they win.
Yes.
Some are in the NCAA tournament right now.
Yes.
And you watch their teams and they're playing for one another. And those guys only been there that year.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody does something different. And we've got to, I think that's sometimes what gets lost in the game of basketball, any sport, when you deal with coaches especially. There are a million ways to get it done, but it has to fit you. It's got to be what you're about. Don't try to do it because you think it look good for that guy. Do it because it fits who you are.
100%. Wow. Hey, you talking about some nuggets to take home? That's Georgia man up. Y'all about to get some of that. We're about to get some of that. I just thought of a great homework assignment to go along with that. We're going to get some of that. Um, uh, Coach, I want to get back on the Voorhees season. Had some good talk about basketball in general, but I want to get back to the Voorhees season. Do we want to talk about you mentioned some of the young players that
Mhm.
stepped up, but I feel like you did an amazing job with some of those young bigs that you have. Can you talk about what it was like? Everybody wants size, but the work that you did developing some of those young big men. Can you talk about what your philosophy was coming into the season dealing with that?
Um, we got pressed into action. To be honest with you, we wanted um, older bigs. We missed out on some guys. If I'm being honest, we had a guy who couldn't play into January, and it pressed our young bigs into action very early. Omari Joseph and Fred Spells. If you saw us play, Fred Spells had like a great game versus I think it was Georgia State. He started that game. Like Fred Spells, 6'8", 6'9", long, can block probably any shot that anybody takes. But he needed strength in the weight room. But we had to get him better. Amari Joseph. I mean, if you look at that guy's body right now from when you first saw him, you can see the big difference. And you can see if you like he's got a highlight film of the season on his social media and just watch him finishing or blocking shots. They spent a lot of time with Coach J. That those are his guys. And he's hard on them. Like you want to talk about what it is to be a college athlete, and then this is a business, and then I'm gonna keep it 100. He told him if this is something that you can't do, which is rebound the basketball, finish in traffic, rim run, defend ball screens, then we got to find somebody that can. And so it meant those guys had to work every day. But it
Mm-hmm.
also meant you got to have a guy. We talk about culture. You got to have a guy like Julius Phillips who couldn't play all first semester, practice every day,
Mm.
in workouts every day. And so you talk about a guy, Julius Phillips. You want to talk about guys we had in our program who last year, although it was in limited number, averaged 5 points and 1.5 rebounds. So if you saw us play after January 5th, you'll understand why we were a lot better too. Because that guy's one of the most skilled. We were having to play him at the five sometimes, but he's one of the most skilled bigs that you'll see. 6'5", 6'6", four-man, can step out and shoot it, athletic, that averaged 11 and 6. Like,
Mm.
it takes him too to help though. Like, he was leading those young guys into why they got to be better.
I love the guys in the chat. They missed us so much, man. We miss you guys too,
We
man. We'll be
did.
back. We'll be back. Fantastic job developing those guys, and I did see some of those guys, their body and their game, before they got here, and uh, now after 1 year, just took an amazing leap forward to be able to be productive um, this season. Uh, One of those young men, and I won't say, I was like, Huff, are you are you sure?
Yeah, yes, yes. Tiger Vision, Tiger Nation. He doubted whether we should be taking that guy. I'll be honest with you. He said, "Are you sure, Huff?" Like,
But an amazing transformation for that kid. So very happy for him. I want to talk about something too that I know is near and dear to your heart, and that is your team GPA.
it's very important to us. My guys will tell you. They know as much as we want to win this conference championship, we want to be the best academic team on this campus. And I can tell you right now, our academic success coach, who's kind of over athletics, when she came in to talk about this in February, we that was our banner right there, that we were the best academic team of all athletic teams on campus. And
Mm,
to do that, having back-to-back 3.0 team GPA seasons is really important from where we came from when I got the job.
Mm.
Um, because it's not all about just winning on the court. We got to win in the classroom. We got to graduate these young men. Um, and that's really important to my staff and I. Coach Jay is an academic success coach, so that helps a lot with what we're trying to do. It's not just about what he can do with those bigs; it's what he can do for us to help us be better in the classroom. And my guys know I had a chance. We were on a Zoom with a recruit today, and I told him if at the end of practice it's gotten to me, and I say I need to see Mondre after practice, it probably has nothing to do with basketball, sir. So you ain't done what you're supposed to do academically more than likely. You don't want it to get to me.
Right. Hey, got to take care of your business, man. We say basketball is a business. We're not just talking about paychecks. Um, but no, I love to see that. I knew that was a very big thing for you. Um, so I want to talk about the future and what we have moving forward um, at Voorhees. We got some great activities and things lined up. I think first and foremost, we got a workout and an on-site visit set up. Let's talk about that a little bit.
Well, first of all, we got high school visitation day on Friday, and from what it looks like, they're gonna have 300 people down here, high school kids, which is very good for us as a campus, as a school.
Hmm.
But then on Saturday to be able to, we can't see everybody, um, and so it's an opportunity for us to maybe see some people we haven't seen, or to see them do some things we want them to do in an open workout. We have opportunities. We have spots available. Um, I'm not going to tell you it's guaranteed. You come out here and play well, that we just going to say, all right, here's a scholarship for you right now. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you like that. But it's also why we're asking for your transcript, because a lot of it's going to depend on that too.
Mm.
But here's the best thing about it. And I've always been this way. If a player comes to this workout on Saturday, they won't just be getting seen by just Voorhees. They'll be getting seen by Denmark Tech, which is right across, down the street from us. And we got two other surprises that we're working on that have tentatively committed to being there. Another NAIA program and another junior college program in South Carolina. I can't sign them all. I told those coaches I don't have enough space to sign them all. So we've got to make sure we provide kids with opportunities.
Mm. I love it. I love it. That's huge for that entire community in Denmark as well to
And,
get that
and,
opportunity.
and while there, I know some people may say, well, why is coach charging $25? Go look around. There are people charging $100 for a workout that you don't have any. And we're only doing it because we're trying to raise just a little bit more funds for what we're trying to do in Voorhees basketball. Uh,
Hmm.
so it's not going to help us go fly for me to go fly to Cancun or anywhere. It's for our program, man.
For sure, for sure. Hey, listen, um, progress is being made. New score clock. Never know what you're gonna see when you walk into that gym. We're gonna get it going. Got to have something nice for the alumni every year when they come back. Some
Yes,
a little
sir. Yes, sir.
um, hey, we can do some thank yous from last year,
Mm-hmm.
Summer Explosion, just to talk about the level of competition that you guys have for the summer team camps.
Man, we want to thank all the teams that came last year. We've got some that have already committed to coming back this year, but really want to thank those guys, and we're hopeful, as you guys have told us, that our summer explosion with a shot clock, been in front of college coaches, helped your team succeed. Lenny Williams, our guy, Woodville Tompkins in Savannah, they got, all the way, to a certain level. Um, Grovetown, Darren Douglas winning a state championship, becoming only the fourth coach in Georgia, if I'm not mistaken, to win a private school and a public school championship. Coach Kelly at Cross Creek, becoming back-to-back state champions. Um, and then Wade Hampton here in South Carolina, those teams getting to the level, the place, the Final Four of where they were, and then two of those teams winning the state championship, that shows you the level of competition. And I'm not talking about the other teams that made the state playoffs, whether it was
Mhm.
your East Cowetas or Walnut Groves out of Georgia, or we can talk about, Barnwell or Denmark Ola, who has a kid that committed to South Carolina, who was one step away from getting to the Final Four. And we can
Mm.
keep going on. Like, we had competition down here, and we're gonna have it again. And I think you may have that image. So we're ready. We're back. June 15th, 22nd. One day. That's why we call it an explosion. It's at Voorhees, at Denmark Tech. All games are shot clock games. 3 guaranteed games. You're in front of college coaches, myself. There are other. If they're not a Division One, they're open to come watch as well. And we had media down here last year. We had yourself with Love of the Game. We had Hoops Hidden Gems with Dave Jones, and we actually had Keith, who now works with On the Radar. So we had people down to watch these guys, and we've had people that stepped up and showed out, and we expect the same thing this year on June the 15th and 22nd.
It was definitely guys that got followed and got tweeted on and talked about, um, even that got connected to other opportunities based off
Mhm.
of that. Like I can say personally, guys that when live period started, their AAU teams were in Atlanta. We were able to connect the dots for some of those guys and get them some opportunities, um, with their AAU team as well to come back in July and play in some bigger events. So great opportunity there. Amazing opportunity. Let's get to what we can expect next season. We love to project into, into next season, and the elusive national championship that we're gunning for. The standard is the standard.
Right.
What are we looking, or can we look forward to for next year?
We will be tougher. I'll just say that. Like, that has been our main emphasis as a staff. Like, I still want skill. I still want guys who can shoot. I still want length and athleticism,
Hmm.
but we want toughness. Like, guys who are willing to do anything it takes to win for that brother next to them as well. But
For
also
sure.
the mental toughness of it. Because I'm not going to sugarcoat it. We're not in a big city. This is not Atlanta. This is not even Columbia, South Carolina.
Hmm.
You've got to at least go 30 minutes to go to a Walmart. We don't have a fancy facility, but what we do have is a culture and a history of winning.
Mm.
Conference champions 2 out of the last 4 years,
Mm.
right? If you want to take it a little bit further, and I applaud Coach Chase Techman knows I'm his. When they won their first round game in the NAIA tournament, I was one of the people that texted him. Like, but we also, as young as we were the only team in our conference to play them under 10. And yeah, a loss is a loss.
Hmm.
They
Hmm.
were also 31-3.
Wow.
At their place, we lost to them by 8, and some of that came because of free throws at the end. And I'm taking nothing away from them. Their big man dominated the crap out of us that night. Like, he had 20 and 20. So I'm not telling you, he dominated. Like, he did.
Wow.
Yeah, but they had the newcomer of the year and the big kid, and they had the player of the year and Matt Simpson. And it was a ball game. Like, we were right there with a chance to win that thing late in the game, right? And I say all that to say is that we could add that element, another level of toughness. Because I don't want to say we weren't tough, but another level of toughness with the guys we have returning, along with the guys we want to bring in. We're gonna be tough. We're gonna be tough.
They're calling you the next Wilkinson County at the college level, the
Hey,
Giant Killers.
if I can do what Wilkinson County did and my man Dr. Aaron Jeter, I will take that.
What was it? 9 state
Yeah, maybe
championships, 10
10.
state championships.
And you did not want to have to play there. I can tell you that.
Yeah, that is for sure. That is for sure. Um, we talked about newcomer of the year. We also have a newcomer
Mm-hmm.
To Voorhees, you alluded to it a little bit. I think we have a image of the young man, I believe. Drop this
Amari
up on the
Bryson.
screen.
Yes, yes, we're excited about him. I'll give you a little backstory. Coach Jay is our South Carolina guy, and he goes to recruit anywhere and everywhere in South Carolina. And he gives me this call, and he says, "Coach, I might have found our Adam Flagler." I said, "Huh?" He said, "Coach, I'm serious. Might have
Big
found our
praise.
Adam Flagler," which is big praise now. He said, "Man, this kid doesn't miss." I said, "Okay." And here's the funny part. So we go see him at Rock Hill at AAU, right? And sometimes you sit by the wrong person and they keep you from watching the game. So I miss his he's going off. But this guy just kept he was killing me talking to me. And James is just mad. He's mad. I mean, he didn't even get to see what he did. Da-da. So we get to, the September period where you can go watch guys work out. And I go to the gym and I'm like, James, is he like that now? Are we serious? And I trusted him. So we had he wasn't missing. I'm like, So we offer him, we go watch him, and he commits to us in late fall, early winter, and we're excited about it. His team had a great year. Um, got to the Elite Eight. They were 19-7 here in South Carolina. He finished averaging, 15, 3-3. If you go look on, some stuff that was going on in South Carolina, he was one of the top guards out of South Carolina. Played some big time competition. We're excited to get him on campus. Um, he's gonna be mad at you, Dre, because he did. I told him to get that highlight film ready, and you couldn't even put it on.
Amari, it's on me, man. It's on me. Cannot get it to download.
But we're really excited about him. Great kid, great family. Mom and dad believed in us. A lot of times when you're at this NAIA level, and there's nothing against the levels above us, they've really got to believe in what you're. It's not what you're selling; it's what you're about.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and that's whether you have a great season or a subpar season, which I think we had in what we were looking for and what we wanted to do.
Right.
They got to believe in what you're doing, and that family believed in Coach Jay first and foremost, and myself and our program.
That's a beautiful thing. Welcome. It's as you say, little old Denmark, South Carolina. It's another great day to be a Tiger. So,
Yes, it is, and we're
uh,
open. If we got some of our recruits out here listening, you want to be a part of us. That's all I'm going to say. You want to be a Voorhees Tiger.
it's a special place. Your highlights could be the next person on this show if they download. But no, I think it's a tremendous environment. I love that family environment. I always treated exceptionally well when I come. Everybody's so friendly and grateful, and the food is fantastic. That is the way to my heart. The food is fantastic. So that would be enough to get me on campus for sure. Um, I got another year eligibility.
Here we go.
Y'all play too fast, man. I'm too old. I can't play at that pace.
And we want to play a little bit faster. I think we had to slow it down a tad bit. As guys were learning our system, 7 new guys coming in. But we should be back where we need to be next year.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Coach, I definitely appreciate the time. We're at the hour, but I definitely appreciate the time, man. It was good to be back on this platform again, talking about
Yes,
Voorhees Tiger basketball.
yes, sir. And alumni, if you're out there, friends of our program, um, we're relaunching since we're hoping this pandemic is coming to an end, or at least slowing down. We're relaunching this athletic booster club, the V Club. You'll be seeing some stuff out about it. Uh, we weren't able to. We've got a spring homecoming to say. Uh, the week of April. I want to make sure I got it right here. I want to mess it up. April the 4th through the 10th, where it's Founders Day. Voorhees will be turning 125 years old.
Beautiful.
Also, the inauguration of our 10th president. He's been here the whole year, but it's actually his inauguration. We're opening stuff up. So it's going to be like a homecoming, so to speak. We've got concerts, gospel concerts, old school concert, SOS band, an all white party, convocation for Founders Day. And during this week, if you have not heard, Voorhees College changes to Voorhees University. And we're excited about that.
Let's go. Let's go. If you follow this show, that's something that we've talked about quite a bit. Really excited for that. That's amazing.
Shouts out to Dr. Ronnie Hopkins for putting all that together. And then, as you know, homecoming next year, be ready, because if things keep going the way it's going, we're back. As they say, we're back. We're wide open.
Full throttle. Can't wait to see it. Can't wait to see it. Hey, thank you guys. You guys are the most important people a part of this. Thank you guys for listening, tuning in. I appreciate the conversation, not only here on this platform. I appreciate the conversation on every live stream for every Voorhees game.
Yeah.
That is a really active, energetic, and enthusiastic place to be on the live stream, watching Voorhees, cheering everybody on. Roll call from city to city. It's a beautiful thing to watch. So for the fans that were able to make it, it was still a lot.
Clarence Jones does a great job announcing our games.
Incredible.
For those that don't know, all our home games are live streamed, and he has stats of the other team records and what they're trying to do, what we're trying to do. And I want to shout out our parents too. If we got any of our players' parents listening,
yes,
they showed up sometimes at places we didn't even know they were going to show up to. When we were on the road, and that was big for us. Incredible. Even last year was big for us in the midst of when COVID was crazy. I remember in the conference tournament, and we had 5 people there. There were 5 of our parents and their family that were there. Like, those are the 5 that we could hear those 5 over everybody else, and we won that conference championship.
I love it. I love it. It is. You can feel that family environment. So, no, that's very huge. But this was Voorhees Tiger Vision. This was episode 26. We'll be back soon. We'll see you guys again.